Alright, so this is going to be a little bit of a different video. In this video, I'll be talking about why and how I like Thomas the Tank Engine so much. But before we get into this video, I think we should start off with a little history lesson on the Thomas franchise. Dear Christopher, here's your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of the station yard and see the world, and these stories will tell you how he did it. I hope you'll like them because he helped me make them. Your loving Daddy. In 1945, the first ever book of the Railway series, The Three Railway Engines, was published by the Reverend Wilbur Awdry. A year later, in 1946, the second book, Thomas the Tank Engine, was published. In 1984, a televised adaptation of the Railway series was created by Burt Allcroft. 25 years after that, the show switched to CGI. Finally, after ending its decades-long run in 2020, the show returned in 2021 with an extremely controversial reboot. Now, onto the actual video. Thomas is, well, a train, and people love trains. I consider myself to be a pretty big fan of them. In this show, there are three things that appeal to me. It was the stories, characters, music, and realism. We'll start off with the stories. I've always had many favorite stories from the show. Ones that come to mind are Escape, Donald's Duck, Percy's Chocolate Crunch, and Breakfan, but the specific stories we'll be talking about are Escape, Henry's Forest, and All at Sea. I think we'll start off with Escape. Escape is a wonderful episode. The episode is about a steam engine named Oliver who is escaping from scrap, hence the name of the episode. The reason he is escaping is because the other railway he's from is scrapping steam engines due to them being out of date, and Oliver, who's trying to avoid his death, is trying to get to Sodor because it's like a safe haven for steam engines. Oliver had been caught by the people searching for him, hence why he's in the scrapyard and the episode occurs. Then when another engine named Douglas, who was taking a freight train to the scrapyard, found Oliver, he rescued him, along with his brake van Toad and auto coach Isabel, in the books anyway. The reason why I love this episode is because there's so much realism in it and it does not talk down to kids at all. The episode takes place around the late 1950s, circa 1960, and around this time in the UK, British Railways was scrapping all of their steam engines in favor of newer, modern diesel traction. The real locomotive that Oliver is based off of, the 14XX, was withdrawn between 1955 and 1965, and the specific 14XX that carried Oliver's number, 1436, was withdrawn on January 10th of 1958. It's stuff like that I'm in love with, because even though Thomas and Friends is seen as a kid's show, and well, it is, the creators tried so hard to make it seem like it took place in the real world, and I am so grateful for that. The music in this episode is also amazing too, and I love the Indiana Jones inspired soundtrack as Douglas brings Oliver over the border.
But before they could clear the station, they were stopped. There, one has. Yes, indeed. And thanks to you, Douglas, he is now at our works. Oliver is just what we need for Duck's branch line. Everyone cheered. Now, Oliver and Toad are mended and painted in full Great Western colors. Duck and Oliver are happy on their branch line. The others laughed at first and called it the Little Western. Duck and Oliver were delighted, and so the Little Western it will always be.
I love Henry's Forest. The plot of this episode is that when a storm destroys the forest, which is one of Henry's favorite places to go, the engines all have to repair it because of the carnage of the trees and brush that are covering the main line. But to Henry's shock a few days later, lots of workmen were fixing the forest, much to Henry's delight. I really like this episode because it shows that we should care for our environment and that nature and animals are really important. I also especially love the ending of the episode as it has to be one of the most beautiful endings to an episode in the show. The music of this episode is really great too, and I love the music used during the ending.
Look, Henry, called Terence, we're beginning again. The hillside will look better than ever before. You'll see. Now, whenever Henry stops by the forest, he can see the new trees growing strong and tall. Sometimes everywhere is very quiet, and at other times Henry can hear leaves rustling or a bird's wing brushing the air. Often he can hear the distant sound of children laughing, and always he is happy here.
It's worth noting that this episode was hated by Thomas's creator Wilbur Awdry because the episode wrote Railway Rule 55, which is the rule that train crews had to notify signalmen of their presence when another engine was stopped on a running line. But as much as I get why he wouldn't like it, I don't care. This is a really great episode, and it's definitely one worth noting.
Now, whenever Henry stops by the forest, he can see the new trees growing strong and tall. Sometimes everywhere is very quiet, and at other times Henry can hear leaves rustling or a bird's wing brushing the air. Often he can hear the distant sound of children laughing, and always he is happy here.
All at Sea is definitely one worth watching. The episode starts with Duck wishing about how he wants to go beyond his rails, dreaming about how he could be at the sea. Percy tells him not to be daft, saying how he likes his rails and wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Engines can't go sailing, snorted Percy, because engines can't float. Duck still had his dreams.
But after a mishap happens at the regatta and a man is injured, Duck is able to bring the person to the hospital by rail, and Duck learns that even though he dreams to go beyond the horizon, his best tales are with his friends on the railway. This is a really great episode, and the moral is that even though you dream about doing anything, where you are right now is best. This episode also has a really great ending as well.
Duck still wonders about the lands beyond the horizon, but I think he knows that sometimes the best travels are those we can only dream about. Don't you?
Now that we've talked about the greatest episodes of the show, in my opinion, I think we should talk about the appeal to it, and why I think it sticks out amongst other shows. I'll start out simple and I'll work my way up. 1. It didn't talk down to kids. One thing I really loved about the show was that it wasn't afraid to show something scary or something that kids wouldn't understand. Oftentimes, big words and railway terminology were used.
This engine is a Metropolitan Vickers Diesel Electric Type 2. The twins were most impressed.
Like, I don't think a 4 to 9-year-old would know what the word vigilant, resilient, or gallant means. Another thing I really appreciate was that Thomas, well, in the earlier seasons anyways, wasn't dumbed down for kids. He wasn't talking to the audience saying, "Do you know what 2 plus 2 is?" He was a steam engine doing steam engine things, while teaching good morals that weren't spat right into the kids' faces. They were softly applied so there was a perfect consistency of entertainment and education. Number 2. The realism. Another thing I really liked about Thomas was that it took place in the real world. Yeah, I'm not joking. Major historical events have occurred in Thomas. Both world wars have happened, the Titanic sank, and many other things have happened. Here's a scenario for you. A kid is going to look up Thomas on the internet and they're going to see Thomas, and then the real life steam engine he's based off of. They're going to research about the E2 tank engines and why they weren't the best engines out there, and kabam, the transition from Thomas fan to railway enthusiast happens. I also think it really helps that steam locomotives that exist in real life are in the show, like Flying Scotsman and how he's brothers with Gordon, Stepney the Bluebell engine, Mallard, Duchess of Hamilton, the list just goes on and on. But before I get carried away, I already got the point across, so let's move on to number 3. Number 3. Easy rewatchability. One thing I really loved about Thomas was that how easy to watch it was. It's not that hard to figure out what's going on, and the episodes are only 4 to 8 minutes long, meaning that they're quick to binge watch. The rewatchability of Thomas is great, and stuff like the insanely catchy synthesized soundtrack recorded by Mike O'Donnell and Hubert Campbell helps too. When watching, the faces on the engines are really easy to understand as well, and it's why I think some of the folks who are on the autism spectrum are obsessed with the show as well. Now, I'm not a specialist, so take what I say here with a grain of salt, but in real life, a content face, mad face, and sad face all look pretty similar, right? While in Thomas, they're all easily recognizable. That's all I have to say about the appeal of Thomas, so I'm going to transition to the outro. We're we're now at the end of the video. Thomas is a major part of my life, and I'm so happy to show people why I'm such a big fan of it. This video is going to be part of a 3-video series, starting with why I like Thomas, hence this video, my predictions for Thomas & Friends 2026, and my own personal ideas for a potential Thomas & Friends movie. I'm looking forward to making these videos for you all. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. I love you all, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.